When I first started, I actually had to educate 100% of my guests on what a short-term rental was and assure them that it was legitimate and that they could stay, etc. Versus today, like Uber, I think most of us, if not all of us, have already traveled and stayed in an Airbnb, VRBO, or some sort of short-term rental when we've gone on holidays, and hopefully we'll be doing that again soon. I started off with Mode Suites based out of Vancouver, and it did start off like an Airbnb type operation. And since then it evolved and matured into furnished corporate housing. So that's my first baby. Then I also own Astoria Village, which is based out of Edmonton, and that's a furnished student rental. And it took probably 8 to 10 months to get it there. It's probably not in the best neighborhood, but it's doing really well and running itself beautifully now. And my newest baby that I've joint ventured with, probably with an investor a lot of you know, is actually moving into vacation and glamping. So this is sort of just started. We just acquired the property a month ago and can't wait to start hosting people. And that's a waterfront property in one of the South Gulf Islands, just off the coast of Vancouver. So that's going to be another little niche that if we have time to talk about at the end, we will, because that's I think a really interesting opportunity for investors. I'm going to share the screen just to kind of help me follow along in what I want to share with you all. I'm putting together a course, and thanks to Mogul, you will all be getting about 80% of it here tonight. So hopefully, but you're also having to suffer and be my guinea pigs. So hang tight. So I'm going to first, just to give you a little bit of idea of what the agenda is going to be, I'm going to talk about the different types of furnished rentals. So when we talk about furnished rentals, we've got the over 30 nights and under 30 nights. That would be typically how they're broken up. When people refer to Airbnb, like the way James was talking, they're usually talking about, or sorry, yes, Airbnb is they're usually referring to stays under 30 nights. But you can also do very well with furnished rentals over 30 nights. And I tend to do a hybrid of both, depending on where I'm doing the rental and how seasonal it is. And that's going to be a really important strategy in being able to maximize your cash flows. So let's begin with the over 30 nights. Usually these will be student rentals, corporate rental. So that's, staff that's being relocated into an urban center and typically they'll need 30 nights to 3 months before their HR kicks them off out of the nest and requires them to find their own location. Extended stays, that could be anyone like somebody immigrating to Canada or a daughter having a baby and the mom wants to come stay nearby for the first while, a wedding. And then the other very lucrative market in over 30 nights are insurance claims. So that's due to floods, fires, even renovations, actually. That's a really great market and very easy to manage. The under 30 nights, that's probably what most of you are more curious about tonight as well, would be the Airbnbs, VRBOs, and this new, really fast growing niche that we're starting to kind of taste is the glamping. So that's pretty interesting. So the agenda basically is I'm going to review why I love furnished rentals. In fact, all my investments I have converted to furnished rentals once. I don't do evictions per se unless it's bad tenants, but once my tenants leave, I try to convert my properties into furnished rentals. So I'll tell you why short-term rentals are a good option for you, how to maximize your cash flow, and the 10 lessons I've learned over the 10 plus years I've been doing this. So I love furnished rentals because I really do find you get a better caliber of tenants. My building in Edmonton is I guess it touches shoulders with probably one of the worst neighborhoods. And when I got possession of this building, there was a lot of cleaning up to do, and the tenant profile for unfurnished was very unappealing for me to manage from Vancouver. So I understand the investors that were talking earlier about managing from afar. So I needed to attract a better caliber of tenants. And in that building, the student profile was absolutely perfect. The students coming from abroad give very little problems. They they follow the rules. They're very respectful. And the best part is they've tended to refer other students to the building. As long as you're managing it well, they'll bring in more students. I pay them $50 for a referral, which is a lot less than you'll get from a property manager. And they've actually helped me fill up my building there in Edmonton. So in some ways, and I'll explain later, it's actually, even though it's more hands-on, you can actually manage it from afar once you get your team together. It's also perfect if you are looking for a vacation property that you want to use temporarily. So it may not be, the property that cash flows for you, but if, for example, I have a property in Whistler that is usually rented as a vacation rental, but the second is vacant, we're there and we're enjoying that property. So if you are looking for a vacation property globally or locally, it's a really great way to help subsidize it. And this is becoming more and more important as more restrictions are put in vacation locations against short-term rentals. It's getting harder for families to do those one-week vacations. In BC, we're seeing a lot of that in the places that we used to vacation as kids. Now you're seeing more and more restrictions on being able to go on vacation there as a tourist. And that's completely unrelated to COVID. That's more related to social pressures. So absolutely perfect for, oh, geez, I'm just a talker. I need to switch you here just so you have a little bit of I'm just going to talk. No, that goes to the end. Anyway, I'm just going to talk and keep my face small because I don't like looking at myself. Units are typically really well kept up, and that's because that's what your clients are going to demand. Your guests are not going to, you're not going to have a good experience if they're coming and complaining about the scratch on the wall or a drippy faucet. So each time there's a turnover, everything is brought back to spick and span. So you never have those huge costs that you may have after a tenant turnover of a few years.